Greetings and salutations, one and all. This is Robert Phoenix, your Astro Weather man. You know, my hair was actually better before I changed my shirt, but I had to change my shirt because I wore that shirt yesterday. And I can't wear a shirt 2 days in a row. I have kind of a rule about that. Unless, of course, the rule is, unless, of course, I don't have any choice. Right? In which case, what the hell? Who knows? There may be a time where wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row would be a luxury. I don't know. But we're here, and I'm here. So greetings and salutations. Hope everybody is having a magnificent start to their day, and wherever you are, that it is unfolding according to plan, even though it may not be your plan at times. Whatever the plan is, I hope you're adaptable. All right, there's my man DJ MC batting the. By the way, shout out to the Florida Little League team coming back from being behind from the dreaded Taiwanese. Oh my God! And they won the game on a bunt. That's like a poke in the eye of Major League Baseball. They won the game on a bunt. So shout out to the boys from Florida. Congratulations. Even though you did beat our Bernie team from just down the road, and it was a very close game. Bernie, by the way, did not have the best pitchers. So they were playing at a deficit. But hey, congratulations nonetheless. You know, I bet those kids are going back to school in Florida, and they're the kings. They're the absolute kings of their town. I think it's just outside of Orlando. It's something lake. I forget the name of it. But man, good for them. Jackie Delario, what's happening? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're going to be talking about RFK some more over on 15 Minutes today. And, you know, there's part of me that's very cynical. And it's like, oh, well, you know, there's this. You know, Emily and I did a show yesterday over on her channel, The Matrix Mash. And I really like Emily's political takes because they're very, like, let's put it this way. It's not a world she's really all that interested in. She's much more interested in a world of quantum possibility. And I think that's like amazing and cool. And I think there's some very interesting pieces to that world, which, you know, I move into from time to time. But yesterday we were talking about Kennedy and Trump and what's happened. And one of the things that she delivered at the end of the show was that it gave people a reason to believe in the system again. And it's sort of like, okay, I know you're restless. But we're going to give you something that feels like it is regenerative and hopeful. So we're gonna quiet the masses a little bit. And I think there is some truth to that. And I also feel like once certain things are set in motion, I'm not sure they're easily controllable or contained. And that if you bring Kennedy in or Tulsi Gabbard in, which is it clearly they're going for a uniparty effect, which I think is, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, if the uniparty crushes the Democrats who have been shit for years, and if it crushes the corporate crony rhinos who've been shit for years, I don't have a problem with it because they have just become stratified, polarized, and calcified. And it's about time something happened where it shook the fruit out of the tree. And this is what Trump does. I have my issues with Trump, just like a lot of people do, but he's kind of chaotic, right? And he is a change agent. He's a disruptor. And this is exactly what's happened. this whole thing has just been absolutely disruptive, especially to the Democrats. Like, where do they go from here? And that's what Emily and I were talking about. Where do they go? Like, how do they get the wind back in their sails? Because the Democrats have been all about being positive and up and happy, happy, joy, joy. And they have been fairly conscious about not being negative, although they did use a fair amount of negativity during the convention to prop up their lack of a platform. Their platform was basically orange mad bad, abortion good, and if you're not careful, we're all going to be thrust back into the early 1800s. That's it. That's all. And then celebrating like the highest range of the diversity. There's no platform there. So they can't really risk being negative because they've gone out of their way to make this a really fun experience for people. Ooh, Kamala's fun. She's so fun. Now they're going to have to search deep to find that joy button again, because I think they just got the wind taken out of themselves. Anyway, I'll talk more about this on 15 minutes. Nugs, what's happening? Is my wife and I's birthday. Oh. I thought it'd be an advantage for me. I would never forget her birthday. Turns out I forgot my own birthday. Oh. I guess we got to do a birthday song for Nugs. Let's see what we come up with Nugs. We got to do a birthday song. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of birthdays between now and the end of October, because most people are born during these special months, and you can look at the statistics around it. All right, what do we got here? I got to cruise through all the birthday songs. Let's see what we got. Let's see. At some point, I'm probably going to have to maybe redo some of these birthday songs. Let's see. And some of them are a little, I don't know, a little cheesy. I mean, sometimes cheesy is okay if it's good cheesy. Then there's bad cheesy. If you're gonna have good cheesy, if you're gonna have cheesy, make it good cheesy. Let's see. Then there's an hour video of nothing but birthday songs. Let's see. Houston. That's too long. Okay. There's a lot of Indian or Punjabi birthday songs, which I think is interesting. Okay, just give me a second. One more. I'm just going to cruise through. I'm about ready to pop one here. There's an August 27th birthday song. Oh, it's August 27th. So I guess we'll go with that one. Now I'm into the shorts. Let's see. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going with the old favorite today. The old fave. Going with the old fave, and that is, of course, Larry, Curly, and Moe. Nobody really does birthdays like Larry, Curly, and Moe. Here you go, Nugs, for you and your lovely bride.
We baked you a birthday cake. If you get a tummy ache and you moan and groan and woe, don't forget we told you so. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Make a wish, dear, and blow out the candles.
Here they go.
You know, the Three Stooges can never ever get made today. Like they're just no way the Three Stooges pass any kind of critical theory test. I wish you both of you a wonderful day, a happy anniversary, and I hope it's a great year. Mary Lee's in the house. Yes, yes, it's on my list. RFK is a hard listen. There's subtitles. You go subtitles. Christina Jerzik, what's up, CJ? Good to see you. Queen Lisa checking in from Florida. There's my man Whit. What's going on, Whit? Janice Phillips, our Wildcat from Oklahoma. Tom Jordan's in the house. Moira, it's a beautiful day in the Big Apple. Cool. Yeah, go on over and check out our show last night over there on Emily's channel, The Matrix Mash. My man Ryan's in the house. What's going on, Ryan? Misbehaving too. Let's see who else. Yes, the event is coming. Please sign up. Please sign up. Guess who's going to be at our event? Jock Doubleday. Jock Doubleday will be at our event. You know, you saw Jock a few weeks ago, and he was talking about terraforming, the terraformation of Earth. Jock is going to be at the event, and he's going to do something special for our event. So if you want to also meet up with Jock and ask him questions about his theories, and who knows, if you're sticking around, maybe Jock will take you to one of these riverbeds and give you a tour of terra firma here in the Hill Country. Yes, please sign up. Come on over to Locals. I'm going to be on Locals a lot today. Southwest Virginia. Southwest Virginia. Cup of coffee in my hand. I raised to Orlando. I'll make the coffee stand. Okay, who else do we have here? Scott Jersey. Hey, Scott. What's going on? Thor at the door. To Steve. There's Sigurd. He's holding down the fort. He will be the last man standing in the UK. He's going to be like Vincent Price. After all the rubble and the smoke has cleared, there will be one man standing there on the tour in Glastonbury. Sigurd will be the king of the realm. Always good to see you, Sigurd. RFK was born for an age replete with AI voice replaced. I know, right? There we go. Absolutely. There she is, the lovely and talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. You know, here's a theory on RFK. I've said this before. So he had a wife who hanged herself. Throat. And there was a time when RFK's voice was not like that. And I'm wondering if what he's doing now is perhaps healing on some level. I wonder if his voice is going to. We'll see. We'll see. Veronica's barn in the house. What's going on? West Coast rocks, no doubt about that, Michael. Kelly B's here. Fire God. Fire God. Please hit the like and subscribe. Yes. We like that because a lot of times YouTube will unsubscribe you. Cassandra Lynn is here. Hi, Cassandra. Rainbows and butterflies. Lori E. Painted tabletop and chairs and seats while I listen. That's ambitious. Good for you. Nunya Beeswax checking in from the 512. ISCCP is here. Good to have you here as well. Down the Wombat hole. Evening down there, Wombat. Good to see you. Lisa Ann White, the law is in the house. Despite Michael's feeling a little bit guilty about the dirty assertions towards California. Look, I think California is a great state. I grew up there. It was a fantastic place to grow up. And when I was there, last year I spent a lot of time in California because my mother was sick. And I spent time in Walnut Creek and Concord and that whole area. And I just have to say the people were really nice. They were incredibly cool and chill and friendly. And, I got to give it to Californians in that regard. If you just stay out of their political zone, and some of them don't even have a political zone, like very cool people. So I'm sticking up for you there, brother Mike. Aaron L is here. Sue Leonard's here. Janine is here. Yes, if you want, you can buy a cup of coffee right there. Thank you, Brian. Jelena June in the house. What's going on, JJ? Good to see you. Brandy Herrera. This has been not quite the happy camper today. Down on my grandson is getting deployed. It has begun. Oh, let's throw that up there. Oh, there we go. I think that's a canary in the coal mine moment. So this is where they're going to go with this. So where is he getting deployed to? Ukraine, Middle East. I think this is how they circumnavigate the joy. This is how they circumnavigate the Kennedy moment. They start a fucking war. Here you go. We will be on 15 minutes at 9/11. I'm sorry to hear that misbehaving, and I hope everything works out for him accordingly. Thanks, Michael. Sharon Lewis, I forgot her last week. Hi, Sharon. Sharon was a little upset, but not this week. Yes, prayers for your family. I agree. Totally. Harry Bowie. Hey. Let's see. I have to use Edge to participate in chat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Havana Blast. I don't know what Edge is, and I hope it's not too painful. Hello to my new fave YouTuber and pals. Hi, Kelly. Welcome to the Funhouse. Evan Fisher checking in, top of the morning for South Florida. Man, we got a lot of Floridians in here. A lot of Floridians in here. Yeah, shake it up. Shake it up. Look at Ryan bringing some. Look at this. When in the course of human events it was necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected with another and to assume among the powers of the earth. Like that, Ryan. I wish YouTube would have given me more space. I think it's great too. The Dem platform is basically Whitey. Want to put you all back in chains. Don't let it happen. Me baddie. It's really become so reductionist. It's insulting. It's insulting. Healing Heart Rosie, please keep me in your thoughts. I'm baking for the fair today. Tomorrow's veggies and Friday's special flowers. Okay. You got this, Healing Heart. You got this. Rock and reality. Happy, joy. A.G. Garland's always making threats if we question the election. What a little twerp that man is. What a little twerp. I could say worse. If you'd like a reading, yes, you can go there. Thank you, Ryan. Cookie Van Dusen from Big Bear. Virgos rock. We are an underrated sign, as far as I can go. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Milestone's 30, September 8th. War in the World was 30 years ago. Crazy. Totally crazy. Maria d'Ange. In the house, Stephen, the Jupiterian. Hi, Stephen. Grand Rising. But things seem much simpler back in the days of the Stooges. Either back in the days when they made them or the days that we watch them. Doesn't matter. It was a lot more simple. Atlantis Rising checking in from the hot sunny Midwest. Nicholas Grimm is here. Hi, Nicholas. Maurice Ham, a new do. I'm trying to get the flock of seagulls look this morning. Rabbit City, what's happening? Barbara Boots is here. Just finished mowing the front yard. But you couldn't get the back done too before the show? It's disappointing. Oh, thank you, Melissa. This was given to me by my ex-wife. She thought it spoke to my musical sensibilities, I guess. Moon Sprout. Sorsha. I think I got it. Sorsha, my McMahon. I think I got it. Maya Rose, what's happening? Sue Leonard's having a heat wave down in Oz. Interesting. I think it's getting close to your springtime down there. Platinum Happiness 2024. Living life in Idaho. Your own private Idaho. Sorsha. I almost got it. I got Sorsha. Let's see. Soul Traveler. Hey, Dead Wolf Resistance 13. Nothing left but smoke. I wonder why she hung herself, or even if she did it. I don't think she did. There's a lot of. I'm not going to get into it, but there's a lot of high strange between his ex-wife and Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, I don't know if his ex-wife was deep into the Maxwell world in that way. I've heard some theories that his ex-wife might have been, well, it's not his ex-wife, it's his widow, that his widow might have had, how shall we say this, a more clandestine relationship with the Epsteins. We'll just call them the Epsteins. Nicole DePaulo. Hello, Nicole. Good to see you. James Morgan, late 70s, early 80s California, beautiful place to be, no doubt. That's where I grew up. Moved to California in 1965. I was just 4 years old. Let's see, who else we have? Starship Troopers name starts playing. Sequoia Raven, you're catching it live. That's right. You're here. Stephen had an odd dream last night about his aunt. He'd been on the other side for many years at a dinner party, and focus was on her and cane. Oh, she didn't walk with a cane. Very interesting. Very interesting. Katie Barton's here. If there are no Virgo, the world would be in chaos. Maybe. Misty's here. Hi, Misty. Boy, we got a good group in here today. Vaporwave, checking in last week in the Cinemark. Then I'm going to the World Bird Sanctuary for an internship. Cool. Nice. Enjoy that. Scrubby's here doing the name check. Joan W's in the house. No, I couldn't finish the back. This is roughly a 2-hour task. Get up earlier, Barbara. Like, I think you should start mowing that lawn about 5 a.m. Get it all done by 8. Is a cradle and a chart 2 quintiles? I don't know, Katie. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to. Oh, Christine Moe's got Christine Moe second a clear sighting, and I got to start the show. Let's go. Let's do it. Thanks, Jordison. Let's do it. Let's do it. So one of the things I really paid attention, I didn't pay attention then because there was just so much going on Friday, is that RFK 2, I don't know if he switched sides. He joined forces. And he joined forces during technically the first day of Virgo. And it really speaks to the mutability of Virgo. That all of a sudden you have one person aligned with one party, and that party not being the party that they had originally signed up with, invested in, and realigned with a different group that's about as mercurial as it gets. And remember, when we looked at it on Sunday night, it dovetails, because normally the 23rd would be 0 Virgo, but because this year is a leap year, the day gets moved out one day. So the that day was 1 Virgo, and the 22nd was 0 Virgo. So the days just got set back by one day. But when it conjuncted, so the sun is conjunct Regulus on that day. We talked about that on Sunday night, which is momentous, and it really speaks to the power of mutability. And Virgo is an interesting sign because both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, but it feels to me like Virgo is the portion of Mercury that is both liquid and solid. It feels to me like the Gemini version of Quicksilver is just that, it's Quicksilver. And the Virgo version of it is when Mercury hits the air, it becomes a solid. So that is the mutable factor of Virgo, is that it's both a liquid and a solid at the same time. And so we had something very liquid, a very liquid transitional situation. And then on Friday, the liquid became solid. The mutability took shape and form. And again, whatever you think of it from an astrological perspective, I think it's really interesting. So we're in the mutable season for sure. Mercury goes direct on Thursday. I can't wait. Normally, Mercury retrograde is not a big deal. I try not to make it a big deal, but I have a lot of things I've been putting off doing until Mercury goes direct. And they involve the signing of contracts and some other things that have to be done sort of around this house and in my world. And I just don't want to fuck it up by diving in on a Mercury retrograde. So Thursday's a significant day. It's like green light go. At least for me, I don't know about you folks, but and some of these things that I have to deal with have come up during Mercury retrograde. So I'm just sort of pushing them off a little bit so that we get the runway. But other than that, let's check out all the mutability in the sky. Vesta just moved right there. Vesta just moved it to 1 Regulus. So Vesta, of course, is the Vestal Virgin. It's amazing how many of the asteroids have some kind of connection to, well, here, let me rephrase that. There are at least 2 asteroids out of the 4 that have very Virgo-like connections. One is Ceres, which is the grain goddess. And if you look at the evolution of the asteroids, Juno, which is in Virgo, Juno's in Libra, my bad. Juno is the asteroid of pregnancy and fertility, right? Juno is connected to the time of year, which would be late May, early June, and it's not quite the summer solstice, but it's spring sort of right? And so that's all about birth and new potentiality, new possibilities. But then we get into Ceres, which is the next evolution of these feminine asteroids, and it's the grain goddess, and it feels to me like you could go either Taurus with Ceres or Virgo, because if we're looking at sort of the seasonal evolution of the asteroids, it would fall right here, right around fall. You bring in the harvest, and then you feed people with the harvest. And then we get into Pallas, which is, again, this is feminine, right? So it's very maternal. We get into Pallas, and Pallas is the stage of maternity without children. The kids have grown up and they've left the house. And Pallas is often compared to Hera and the ability to perceive patterns and pattern recognition, because in this regard, Hera is a mature wife, right? She's seen a lot. And that's part of Pallas's story. It's pattern recognition and the understanding of the life story itself. And so you can begin to make some intuitive, rational judgments about how things are going to go. And then, so I would consider Pallas is interesting because if we're going through like this cycle, right, it feels like Pallas is located somewhere between November and January. We'll say Pallas is, I'm going to go with Sagittarius with Pallas. I'll go with Sagittarius because Sagittarius has that big, wide scope and aperture. And then we get to Vesta, which is the oldest. And Vesta, the word Vestal Virgin is connected to Vesta. So now we have two asteroids that are very Virgo-like, but I also feel like Vesta is Capricorn. Maybe you could make a case that Vesta could be Pisces too, the opposite sign of Virgo. But the idea with Vesta is that it portends sort of what you're doing late in life in your chart. But it also has this effect of being the eternal flame that is flickering back to you from the end of your life. It's like a point of illumination. It's supposed to remind you on some level as to why you're here and how you're supposed to connect with your own internal flame. So if you have, and everybody's got Vesta in their chart somewhere, so you may want to look at it and see what sign it's in and what house it's in. And some of them are easier to determine than others. I have Vesta in Cancer in my 8th house. So it's a very interesting dive with Vesta. We get the word investment from, it's connected to Vesta. It's like, it's that thing, right? It's that thing, it's that flickering flame that says, invest in this thing. And it's hit Regulus. It hit Regulus, I think the day after the Kennedy announcement. So there's something about Vesta here that really embodies this idea of the Vestal Virgin. Because number one, it's what it's associated with. Number two, it's in its sign. And number three, it's bang on Regulus. So there is a purity that Vesta is demonstrating in some ways. And there's also, I think, what I would call the long play with Vesta. That anything worth investing in should theoretically pay benefits or you reap benefits down the line. So how does that affect us? Well, health. I think it's really interesting that this happened when Kennedy started to talk about health and the health of children and everything that's gone on with all the shitty, crappy, big agro manufacturing in this country with food. And it's pretty clear they're poisoning us. And it feels like that there needs to be an investment or reinvestment in that world. And we were talking about this the other day. And I asked the lovely and talented one, could you imagine what it would be like for all these factories to retrofit all their products so that they no longer contain seed oils? And what would that even look like? Like, that's huge. It's really huge. You can make a choice not to do those things, which is fine. And most of you have and will. In fact, I think all of you have and will. And there are people who do not have the wherewithal to understand what you and I may understand at that level. And so they're just going to grab this stuff because, number one, it's easy. They ate it when they were a kid. And number two, let's face it, if you're going to pay for quality food, it's expensive. You're really going out of your way to purchase health insurance by getting quality food. And for a lot of people, they can't afford that health insurance. So they get what's available and what's cheap just to stay alive. And we've seen what's happened to this. Look, I live here in Kerrville, and it's some of the most unhealthy people I've ever lived around. We go to this really good sort of diner just down the road from my house, and they do really good breakfast and really good Mexican food. They got, like, you can get anything there, pretty much, and it's good and it's affordable. And I know they use seed oils, so I just have to be upfront with that. But you can kind of get around that by some of the things you order. But I go into that place and everybody is like freaking diabetic. They're all, not all, I would say generally 70% of the restaurant is like way overweight. They're using canes. They're using wheelchairs. It's not good. The ravages of the American diet, it's taking its toll. So I really think this is interesting. And I think this idea of Vesta right here being at the early stage, I guess the question is, what do you want to invest in terms of your health? Important. It's important. Even if the world is, even if the world is falling apart and deconstructing, it's a much harder place to be in when you're sick. Bottom line, you can deal with things better if you're on the healthy well side. Okay. Sun squaring Uranus. I call it Uranus today. That is just by degree, and we're about 2 days out from that separating. And it feels to me like by degree, again, if you go back to Friday, that's kind of a radical break. Sun Uranus squares are a radical break. And maybe this can relate to you, and looking at your routine and what you do and what you consume and having a radical break with that. Now, maybe you don't want to be so radical that you cease everything, like, oh, I'm going to get off my meds today. You may not want to be that radical. Not saying everybody chats some meds, but most of you probably need it, along with myself. No, I'm just kidding. But I think this is challenging the status quo. Right? It's challenging the status quo. And what's interesting is that they're both in Earth signs. So it's one of those squares. It's kind of an unusual square. We have a large contingency of Gemini in the sky. Jupiter, Moon, Mars, and Mercury's coming in and sextiling all those planets. Information passes quickly today. Multitasking is, I think, on the table. Even though Mercury's still retrograde, you can get a lot done. You can catch up on things today. So if you stay focused and stay off Twitter, you can get things done. I also think today's one of these days where I think you can be good busy And you can also, if you are good, a good busy is, again, getting things done, multitasking. And this trine with Chiron, I think, is also interesting because Chiron in Aries is all about will, and Chiron is the wounded will. So today's one of those days where you can actually build up your will a little bit by accomplishing some things and burning through some tasks and have fun, because Mercury's in Leo and Gemini does not like boredom. So whistle while you work, make a game out of it, put some music on in the background, get her done. I would say from a much broader perspective, this Gemini energy is always interesting because it's running parallel programs. So you could see today like feathered or layered versions of the truth. And some of them may be more truthful than others, because that's how Gemini works. So it's a discernment day for sure. Mercury also squares Uranus, and this one is actually a harder square than the Sun, because elementally they're in the same, they're on the same team, but here they're not. And I wonder if through the retrograde that there may be some opportunity to reverse course on something, right? Like reverse course on it. But, okay, I'm going to go with that. But today has some reverse course ability. Like stop. Like if you're going in a certain direction and you don't like it, right? You don't like it. Reverse course and then tap in to this Gemini energy, which is like take a different path, the road less traveled. If you're stuck in traffic, maybe you want to just get off the freeway, get on the frontage road, use Google Map or whatever. Can't always trust Google Map, by the way. But today's one of those days where if you are reconsidering the path that you're on, today's one of those days where I think you can do a bit of a hard stop, a pivot, and then go in a different direction. It's worth considering. Okay, what do we have here? We still have this grand trine with Venus, and it's quite grand. Venus at 27 Virgo, the final degrees of Virgo, trining Uranus and trining Pluto, coming into a bit of a kite pattern there. And that's team. I think that's teamwork. Many hands make quick work. So again, if you're doing these things and you have somebody who can help you, even better, right? Everything speeds up with that Venus Uranus trine, and sometimes the people that can help you are people that you may not even consider as being helpful. And what I mean by that, not that they're unhelpful, but you wouldn't just consider that. And all of a sudden, they're, kind of there. It's like, hey, can I help? Or maybe you could be that person. I like the energy. I like this grand trine energy. And today it's exact Venus Uranus trine. So I think efficiency is really at the top of the list today. What else we have? Let's talk about what's going on over here. We have Saturn at 16 squaring off against the Moon, Jupiter, and Mars. Here's what I'm going to say to that. Some people are never happy. Some people are never satisfied. There's always some kind of negative effect. And that's what this feels like with this Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn, Moon, Saturn, Mars square. And I don't know if you can be responsible for that. I don't know if you can be responsible for it. But I think it's worth a notice that there are just some people who are perpetually in a funk or a fog. And that's going to be quite visible today. I always feel like we need to talk about Saturn from a higher level and from its cultural perspective. And this feels like a big abortion issue day. That's what it feels like. A big abortion issue day. Saturn in Pisces is, I think, of the Catholic Church with Saturn in Pisces, even though they've abandoned their stance on abortion a long time ago. But the square with the moon, square with Mars, square with Jupiter. So abortion is going to be in the air today. It's a big story. And also, I think the migrant stuff is going to be an ongoing and bigger story that goes along with this as well. And all the people who shamed these host countries into taking these people in, the people who shamed them are the ones who I think are at the front of the line in terms of not just blame, but also the wrath, the wrath of the people who are now understanding that they have been hoodwinked and had. And the other thing too, when we think of Gemini, we think of speech and talking. Gemini is a talking sign. And Saturn there wants to put a big, big clamp on it. So Saturn is a player, and it's not a fun player today. So there you go. There's your Astro Weather. Let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. And today was one of those days where every now and then there's a day without a choice. And today was like bordering on one of those days. So let me throw this up here. It came down to Lyndon Johnson, Ed Gein, or Darryl Dragon. And since I don't really like Lyndon Johnson, and Ed Gein is just too gruesome, I chose Darryl Dragon. And you're going to say, well, who's Darryl Dragon? Well, you probably recognize him as the captain from Captain and Tennille. Well, today's True Hemp Science star of the day is brought to you by, of course, True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all your CBD needs. And here's a little sample of the goodie bag that you get when you spend $100 or more and type in 15MINS, and you'll get that goodie bag. $150 more, get your free shipping, and there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. So get in, use the product. If it's not working for you after 30 days, you have the option to return it. So there you go, TrueHempScience.com, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. All right. It's always interesting when I look at these characters and I begin to kind of dive into their life story, because I knew a little bit about the captain, Darryl Dragon, and there were things I didn't know about him. So let's go with the astrology, and we'll go from there. Okay. So he has the moon in Pisces on the midheaven, and women are always represented by the moon. So Toni Tennille, who is a Taurus, by the way, she's born on May 5th. We're going to put her sun sign right there. We'll get back to that at some point. Like so the captain, Darryl Dragon, is the son of Carmine Dragon, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, who was a composer in Hollywood. So if you watch TV shows and some movies where they actually used to use symphonies and orchestras for the soundtracks, his father was one of those people who led those things, and his mother was she was an opera singer. And then when you look at the bio of all the Dragon kids, they're all musical. His brother, I believe it's Danny Dragon, was a member of the band called the Surf Punks in LA. I actually have that. It's a funny album. The captain played with the Beach Boys. He played with the Beach Boys, and he toured with the Beach Boys. So that's where he he gets his start with pop music, and eventually he runs into Tony Tennille. Tony Tennille actually did some stuff with the Beach Boys as well. Tony's originally from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. And so they hook up, they go on tour, and they started playing at this one place, I believe in Santa Monica, one of the beach towns. And they became kind of a hit at this place with their act. And they got signed to a record deal. And they became huge. Like the Captain and Tennille were huge in the 70s. They were so big, they had a TV show which lasted from September of one year till March of the next year. So I guess that would be one season. And then, of course, they bring in the summer replacement shows. So it lasted roughly a year. It was one of those comedy sketch shows where they would perform. So where would he be without Tony Tennille, the woman with the moon in Pisces? Probably wouldn't be as successful as he was. Now, the Captain has since passed away. In fact, there's only one of the dragons that are left, which is kind of sad. And the whole nautical idea with the sailor's cap and the glasses, it's very Piscean. And even with his ascendant in Cancer and Jupiter here, and he was. Now we're going to get into the personality traits. He was incredibly shy, which I think Cancer rising can bring about. But he's got that Jupiter Moon trine. Again, he's really capitalizing on his relationship with Tony Tennille. There's nothing wrong with that, because she, being a May 5th Taurus, is coming right in here and trining his Mars. So they work well together, right? They have some synergy. Venus-Pluto conjunction, they were together for a very long time, like 30 years. Now, here's the weird part, okay? The weird part is that Tony Tennille divorced him, I think after like 30 years or something. And she has a book, and she says that he never gave her any physical attention at all. They shared the same house together, and he was incredibly remote, inaccessible. And their musical act and their business partnership was bigger than whatever kind of arrangement they had. And her son is in his 11th house, which is friends. And you've got to be friends in order to have a relationship. But I think maybe Darryl took it too far. And you can see in a lot of ways the hard aspects. Here's what I think. I think his mother overshadowed her, because you have Black Moon Lilith right on his ascendant in Gemini. And his mother was probably very prominent in his life. You know, if the dad is off composing scores, the mother is going to be around and kind of run things. But he has a hard time with emotions. Moon Saturn square, Moon Uranus square, Moon opposing Mars, Moon opposing Mercury. He's not good with emotions. You would think that somebody with the Moon in Pisces and Cancer on the ascendant with Jupiter in the first house would be good at emotions. I don't think that that's really true. I think he was good at professional emotions, but he was not good at personal emotions. And it's a very strange thing to be involved with somebody for 30 years and not have any kind of real warmth, attention, or contact with that person. I don't know. Was he gay? I don't know. He's definitely got some things going on in the chart, like the Sun-Saturn square, the Sun-Uranus square. And it feels to me like he's also looks like he's born just after an eclipse. So this is also an interesting thing to look at. Can he be like his moon was eclipsed? His emotions are a culprit. This is a kind of a tough chart. You can see, I think, the musical genius here. Mars, Mercury, Neptune, all conjuncting each other, sextiling Jupiter, which makes the capacity for these planets bigger. Yeah, and tapping in. Well, even those are square, right? Tricky chart. Tricky chart. Venus, Pluto, sextile, Saturn, Uranus. That's the relationship. And there's money in the relationship. Pluto's resources. It's kind of an odd chart. It's a bit of a bucket chart with the moon on the MC. At the end of the day, after I read his life story and his story with Tony Tennille, it's sad. And so why did Tony Tennille stay? That's another question. Well, she stayed because they made money. It was a business arrangement. Total business arrangement. And she's still alive and she still sings and does her thing. And it's so funny how Hollywood portrays certain people. Like you saw this couple and they're singing about muskrat love and how love would keep us together. I mean, those were huge songs, especially Love Would Keep Us Together. It was a monster hit. And they have their own TV show, and you just think, oh man, they're just two peas in a pod. They're making music together, they're making muskrat love together, and they're not doing any of that. They're just making records together. And again, it's kind of sad. So I don't mean to leave you there on a bummer note, but Darryl Dragon, your THS star of the day. And at the very least, their partnership gave us, I was never really that into them, but some of you might like some of their music and you've enjoyed it over the years, and that's the way it is. That's what we get. There you go. Your True Hemp Science star of the day, Darryl Dragon, the captain. Captain. And with that, we draw the show to a close as I scurry on over to 15 minutes. If you want to join us, it's on Boxcast. The link is in the show description. And we also stream live on Rumble. We'll get more to the RFK thing. But before I sign off, I just want to give a shout out to a really good and dear friend of the show, Bree. And she's going through a very, very difficult time in her life right now. And I just, if you can just all just have the word Bree in your head for just a moment, and just send some warm, loving energy to that name, BRI, because she could use it right now. I don't want to get into any personal details, but there you go, Bree. We're thinking of it. All right, take good care. We'll see you back here tomorrow for the Astro Weather. Bye for now.